You know it's a good game when I put the 06-07 style jersey on. This thing is older than I am, if I'm not mistaken. The Edmonton Oilers win 3-0 in a shutout over the Montreal Canadiens. They go to 9-7 on the year, and Mike Smith picks up his 40th career shutout and the first shutout by an Edmonton Oilers goaltender this season. Man, did this feel good. This has been the best game to watch all year. This was a game where I sat back and watched it, and I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel bored. I didn't feel sad. I felt happy. I was excited to watch the Oilers tonight. I was hopeful going into it, and man, did they not let me down. They got a 3-0 shutout tonight, and it was their best game of the year. Let's be honest here. If we're talking top to bottom, they've had better showings this year in certain periods and at certain moments. When we're talking about an all-around game, when we're talking about who contributed, by far best game of the year. There is no, this is first, and then I don't even know what second place is. I think second place is empty, and then the other 15 games are ordered from that point onward. Going into the game, we had a few different lineup changes, because of course we did. But there was a big reason for the line changes this time. Not only was Mike Smith in tonight, which I think was the right choice, and we'll talk about Mike Smith at the end of this. Jesse Puljujarvi out because of COVID. Now, the North Division hasn't really been affected by COVID this year. There was a little scuffle with Winnipeg, but there was no problems there. And it looks like, for the first time, we are seeing a North Division hockey player having contracted COVID-19, that being Jesse Puljujarvi. He is currently on the COVID protocol list. He might not have it, but from what we're seeing right now, with everything that there is, the fact that they did have testing, he would have been tested. If all the other players on the team had been tested and gotten results, there's no way he didn't have results. So, whether he has it or not, there was a test saying that he was positive for COVID-19. I think that's just my opinion when I look at what we have as information that he did test positive. The game still went on. It was an hour delayed, so Edmonton could get all the test results, but Jesse Puljujarvi out of the lineup, which sucks for him because, man, was he playing good. In his absence, we get the exact opposite of Jesse Puljujarvi, James Neal. I'm being mean to James Neal. He's not as fast. I don't think that he's got as much strength, but he does still have the veteranosity and the skills, so I understand why you put him up here. And then we get a very interesting move, as when we look in the last game, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they just said third and fourth line flip and moved Turris, Shore, and Chison down to the fourth. Ennis Karia, I was corrected by this in the comments. Jujar Kara, and Josh Archibald. And man, what a good decision that was. Yeah, other than that, there was the delay, and that was all it was. Kicking off in the first period, the Oilers had a really good start. Their one thing in this game that they did bad, and this is literally the one thing, in my opinion, that they did bad, that was like a bit of a major error. They let Nick Suzuki get away on a breakaway, but Mike Smith saved it. Connor McDavid drove, but he got stopped by Allen early on, and then we got our first goal of the game. Nick Suzuki had the puck, neutral zone, or up high in his zone or neutral zone. Shoots the puck, goes off of one of his own players, and the puck ends up on the stick of Tyler Ennis. Tyler Ennis gives a nice board pass up to Archibald, who feeds Jujar Kara in the slot, who scores again. Man, Oilers Twitter must be really salty. They don't like that guy. But Jujar Kara scores second goal in 7 games, if I'm not mistaken, is the statistic that it is. 1-0 for the Edmonton Oilers. What a goal, and what an important one. And it was a bit telling for how the night was going to go. Draisaitl fed Barrie, who was open in the slot. Barrie clinks it off the post. The bottom 6 in this game, this has to be the best performance by the bottom 6 of the year, and that's why it's the best performance of the year. This bottom 6 this time around, and man, that Jujar Kara line with Ennis and Archibald, that's a line you want to keep together because the chemistry between them has been very good, not only in this game but in the one before. This line has been a good line in the bottom six that I hope they keep together. But even the other line of Shore, Turris, and Chison, that was creating opportunities. You could see it, especially early on. They were doing very, very well. And that's what I said to end off the first when it came to my notes. Edmonton played very well in that period. Smith was sharp when he had to be. Um, and they took advantage of Montreal's mistake, which was the Nick Suzuki hitting the puck off of one of his own players when dumping it in, and that led to a goal. Then we move on to the second period. McDavid feeds Nurse in the Nurse, not in the slot, but in his shooting spot. Nurse has developed like this one spot he likes to go up to and shoot, and it's like left of the slot. He takes the wrister again from there, and man, did it pay off because Allen stopped it, and then Weber got it, tried to clear it, and then it hit off of Philip Deneau in front, and then it went into the net. And from the overview camera, I don't know if it hit anyone else, but I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be shocked if it hit either Jake Allen's pad, Shea Weber's stick again, or both, because you can even see Shea Weber's stick is probably the lesser one, and I don't think that it would hit there. I think there's a greater chance it hit Allen's pad over Weber's stick, but you do see Weber's stick move back when the puck got really close to it, so it did look like it hit. Anyways, it's 2-0, and it's another. It's a fluke goal, but man, it kind of makes up for Ethan Bear's butt fumble in the third game of the year. I really like the Oilers' game up to that point. Sherratt trips up Cahoon, but the Oilers can't get traction on the power play. That's something that we saw earlier on in the period. Lagesson had a wrister from the point off the post. The third line, I've mentioned it again, has been great tonight. And then that was pretty much the end of the period. What a great follow-up to the first period. These first two periods were good. Third period, Deneau takes an interference penalty, nothing to show for. And then we get a nice little scrum between Lagesson and Anderson that almost classifies it as a fight, but it doesn't. Lagesson ends up getting a 2-minute holding penalty, and Anderson gets a 2-minute a double minor roughing penalty. So 4 for Anderson, 2 for Lagesson. That means the Oilers are heading to the power play. And on the power play, Draisaitl takes a wrister, saved by Allen, but it bounces back to him. He goes up a little bit into the right point spot, and who happens to be at center with his arm cranked back and the stick up in the air? Why, it's Tyson Barrie, who gets the feed, pops the one-timer, and boom, it's a 3-0 game in the third period. Wow. That's what the power play needed. The power play connected. This game was the perfect game, as perfect as a game, I think, as we're going to get from the Oilers this year. And then from there, it did kind of top her off. I'd say that out of the 3 periods, this is the one where they were the weakest defensively, but I think that also has to do with the fact that out of the 3 periods, this is the one where Montreal seemed to care the most. Neal gets a beautiful shot from McDavid down low, but he can't bury it. It's just off the shoulder and away. Bouchard takes an interference call. He kills off the penalty. Mike Smith just playing phenomenally, and then that's it. The Oilers win, and I didn't even write the score down here because I'm an idiot. 3-0. What a game. This was, without a doubt, like I said, best game of the year for the Oilers so far. They played well enough in their defense. This is what they need to do, right? They had enough offensive possession time to be able to limit the defensive, because clearly the defense is not elite. But as long as you don't overpressure the defense and force it to be the thing doing everything, force it to be the side doing everything, then it's okay. And yes, the Montreal Canadiens had almost 40 shots in this game. But when you look at the shots they had, a lot of them, if they were good opportunities, were just swooped up by Mike Smith. Like tonight, there was the Suzuki breakaway, and then there was a couple times in the third period. Other than that, it didn't really look like there was a lot of problems in the Oilers' zone. And thus, let's actually talk about everything else and then Mike Smith. I want to save Mike Smith for last. Forward core. It looks really good. Even with Puljujärvi and Cassian out, the forward core looks great. The first and second line did what it needed to tonight, but the third line, man, the third line played great. Every time they were on the ice, they were a threat. Do I expect that out of them every night? No, it's unfair to expect that out of them every night. But keep that line combination together for good. That is a line combination with chemistry. The defense wasn't always perfect, but it did the job it needed to do tonight. Nobody made a big mistake. Nobody had any big problems. Everyone got opportunities. Barry scored a goal. I think the defense played well tonight. Thus, we get to goaltending. By the way, another note, Dylan Wells sat on the bench as the backup goalie for this one because Koskinen, because he was friends with Jesse Puljujärvi. I just call it a Finnish bias, ladies and gentlemen. The two Finnish players on the team are the two players that you're going to put into quarantine and not be allowed to play. This is malarkey. But Mike Smith, man, he's earned a lot of my trust back. If you watched the playoffs, Game 1, when I reacted to how he played against Chicago, you'll know I'm not a big fan of how he played there. Over the past 2 games, has he earned my respect and my trust back? I can't believe I'm saying this, but Mike Smith, the guy who likes to play the puck all the time, is sturdier in net than Mikko Koskinen. And for me, when it comes to Mike Smith, there's 3 things that, for me, it's not even 3 things that he does well. I have 3 problems with Koskinen, and those 3 problems with Koskinen are 3 problems that Mike Smith doesn't have as big of a flaw in. Mike Smith can make a glove save, Mike Smith can control a rebound, and Mike Smith doesn't let every single 5-hole shot in. The only goal he's allowed in his 2 games, I'll give it to you, it's only 2 games, but the only goal he allowed, A, wasn't a shot from the other team, and B, was blocker side top corner. So, he's played really well. And all I'm going to say is this, right? We're walking into a game with Winnipeg on Monday night. If Mikko Koskinen is available, do you even start him in that game? Do you? Because listen, I do know the thing with Mike Smith is that he's inconsistent. He will go on a few game stretch where he's great, and then he'll go on a few game stretch where he's not great. But that should mean we should be capitalizing on when he is good. And listen, look at the last 2 games for Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith. All right, let's look at the past 2 games for each of them. Mikko Koskinen's past 2 games, he has allowed multiple within the first 2 minutes of the period goals. His 5-hole has been non-existent, and every puck he took went off of him. Mike Smith, on the other hand, has stopped all but 1 shot he's faced in the last 2 games, has controlled rebounds to a T, and has played very well. There's a major difference there. Mike Smith is playing better right now by a long shot. I don't have a heart attack when Mike Smith is in net. And that right there should tell you who I think should start. I think that when we're playing the Jets, Game 1 should definitely go to Mike Smith. Give Game 2 to Koskinen. But yeah, I think that Mike Smith maybe has earned the start against Winnipeg in the next game. But that's all for me on this game. What did you guys think of the game? Do you guys agree with me that this was a good game? Do you guys disagree with me and say that there was a better game, or that Montreal just wasn't as good, or something like that? Let me know down below. Thank you all for watching this video. I will see you all on Monday when Winnipeg comes to town to start off a 2-game set. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now, everyone.